So what'd you think of the class?
It was
Do you want me to leave the room?
It was hard.
I'll leave.
Are there things that you learned about techniques that you already knew that helped, you think will help you in your teaching?
Definitely, with the foundations, I teach a foundations class here, and I've already incorporated some things that people find really helpful, especially when it comes to the neck and strengthening the neck, because the biggest complaint we get sometimes is, oh, my neck hurts when I do that, but we're supposed to be using our neck, and so teaching them the small movements to strengthen the neck, both the front and the back, was really
Jenna
helpful.
wants to add.
Oh, that's the magic carpet ride. Let's hear from the oracle.
So are there things you feel like you learned about your body in these classes that, I know you've all done a lot of classes of all different things. Are there different techniques that you've learned here?
I like the different language. Like it's saying the same thing that we've learned in different ways, but it's, even just the numbers and being able to call out quickly 10 and 9 or your tape measure or your vest, or it's just saying kind of the same things but hearing it in a different way that I think was nice to be able to connect. I know I connected differently to my body with just the different cueing and the different language.
Good.
And along with that, you guys watching your 100, all of you responded to, when you kept saying number 5, suspend your number 5, look, all of you looked rather than like how it can feel like you're heavy in your 100, like all of you kind of like lifted up in it. It was really cool. And you're all different bodies, but you all lifted up like to the same degree, which was really, it was like a floaty 100. It's very cool.
I think that piece is really important for me, not the curling so much, but the lifting, because I curl anyway. So the lifting, I'm still curled, but it's a more uniform curl, and it's more about that lift instead of hunkering down into myself more.
And all of those tools too just helped, I think, as they're supposed to, with distraction. Like roll up, it's still really hard, but using the tennis ball and saying your name and counting the numbers and all of those things give you something else to think about, so before you know it, you're really like rolling through each of your numbers or each of your parts of your spine easier.
It helps with habits. Like if you have a habit of skipping certain vertebrae, that rolling piece keeps in mind for me almost like a chain, hitting each little sprocket as it goes across a little bit more than just doing it on my own.
Well, with the talking as well, I found that myself and clients, that's a good gauge of whether they're curling too much, because if their voice or their breath gets cut off, they have a way to notice that, because that's another big question we get is how much should we be curled? How much should the chin be curled? And so the talking, that was a great addition. I really like that.
Yeah. Numbered cat is one of my favorite things, I think, ever. Numbered cat, yeah, and just that to teach, and I've used that with people for a while, learning it from Kara a long time ago. Just again to like allow people to focus on the different spots of their spine that they might bring an awareness, basically, that they might not even know that there's possibility of movement there, or that they're maybe not moving there as much. I think that's a really helpful tool, just in the cat and then definitely in the roll up too.
And which is that one where you're down and your chest is trying to touch? Which cat is that? I love that one.
Picture cat.
That's so fantastic for that extension through the thoracic is really, really good.
And also just the saying of the name and the address and all of that, like just changes the tone of the class. Like it just makes you kind of smile and laugh. It's just like so intense. Everyone just kind of giggles. Like I laughed when I did it. Every time about halfway down I would have to laugh just because of all the like cacophony and like everyone speaking. And then all of a sudden everyone just miraculously stops at the same time with their zip code. And everyone comes back up.
Right. Yeah, you tend to link people together a little more easily. But the one thing I've been really playing with and thinking a lot about is just the cueing, what all of you are saying, just the languaging of it, that, and this is just one small part of this whole series, but, and hopefully I'll be able to say this right, but it creates this
internal experience, I think, like more of a somatic experience versus those external conventional cues that we get, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, knit your ribs together, or even just pull your belly in. Like, so you create that, I think, just a different intrinsic response and setup, not only before Pilates, but kind of during. Do you feel like it's less
It's a really
aggressive?
powerful use of imagery, which we try. Like they're just images that I think connect you a little more deeply. In a different way.
Yeah.
Another point about language, which is not the image, I totally agree with everything, so I didn't say anything, but it's also, for me, the pronoun. So your vest, your zipper, and not the zipper. Those zippers, those arms, you hear that all the time. You hear the, like it was like the foot over there, you know, instead of your. You kept saying, you're this, find your this, find your this. When you said the word somatic and being really internally in touch, and you kept identifying it as, so I'm not really worried about her zipper or any abstract zipper, my zipper.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You can do a
Yeah.
pronoun.
It's not your hot pocket.
Yes.
And I kept wanting you to say, squeeze the cheese out of your hot pocket. Squeeze the cheese. And I put this in the notes on the Google Doc, but like my experience with these was that I felt really like internally kind of tuned up. Like all that like keyhole stuff, like everything just felt like really well. I can think of like the Tin Man, like and all the joints, like everything just kind of really well oiled and ready to kind of like move in whatever way you then wanted us to move, which was really cool. And I think it is that, like Amy was saying, like it's much more like personal. Like you would be like, hey, find your number 2, or Alicia, find your number, whatever. Although you don't always single me out and call me out in class and say my name.
We're allowed to say mine either, but it's alright.
I like it for other people. They get the personal attention.
I was in class
I like
too,
it
it's
for them.
I'm so bad about that.
I think also it takes time. Again, one of the points of it, I think, is to create awareness about different. Sorry, I'll still participate in this part though. Just kidding. But like even the listening ears, like how often do we really rotate the head that far, that intentionally, before going into like swan on the push through bar or something like that? And even all of the rotation and side bending, I feel like, especially in just the mat work, you don't really get that until the twists at the end of the mat work, but you don't take the time to really get the spiraling and the side bending as much as in these exercises, which feels really good to like break it down.
And that listening through the ear and letting the eyes follow is that where we should be moving from is at the top of the spine and the cranium. And I know I definitely don't do it. Listening ear is huge for me. And all the clients that we have that look somewhere else while their head is going one way, and it's like, wait, let your eyes look, or we cue let your eyes look somewhere. When I'm working with somebody to twist and I say turn your chest to the right and they first turn their head, it's like, no, not your head, your chest. It's like, where are those pieces? You know, I know where they are, but like, you know, does anybody really know where the top of their spine is? It's really, that's a huge piece from where is it? I think it was really good.
Yeah.
So Deborah, how do you feel about teaching this? Well, they just were on the spot. It's your turn.
Well, I think it's giving me, there's, I don't know, 12:30.
Yeah.
I think that it's just giving me more tools. I think a more entryway into getting somebody a little deeper, more internalized in their body, to have more success and even harder exercise, especially the twist and rotation. I think it just kind of breaks down all my habits. Like we have movement habits, but we also get teaching habits. So this whole program has just been like, breaking my habits and really noticing too, like what I say, how it affects, whether it's a pronoun or not. But one word that in particular, and this is kind of what I'm writing about in my paper, is like I have absolutely tried to stop saying the word modify too, like just with that connotation that it might have, but I'm trying to get out of those external cueing that can cause that don't know, what am I
With
trying to say?
The judgment that it's
The
not
judgment,
like the
yeah.
actual exercise, that you're just making it something less.
That is less. And that if we can take this experience and this new languaging and make it more fun, but also more unique to the person, I'm finding that to be more successful in my math classes in particular, because that's really where I've been kind of exploring it the most. I haven't gone yet and done a lot of the equipment, but I will soon.
Yes, Misha?
I have a question. What is your experience, because we're all fairly advanced bodies and teachers, so we know kind of what you're getting at or whatever in teaching the movement. How has your experience been with like newer clients or just people who
Aren't quite as talented.
aren't as amazing?
No. You know, I taught Nicola's class a couple times and I used it there. And they're not used to it, so they're just kind of like, I just want to go through it.
Yeah.
But, and I didn't teach all of it. Like, so here we're really exploring teaching all of it. We've only dropped like little seeds to connect them into certain particular extras, really to kind of connect themselves into themselves a little bit before they start moving. So that class was probably the most challenging. Though they like the My Name Is, they like the weights, the ball, and they're like, oh, it's really helpful. And they enjoyed the numbers. That seems to be like the most popular one. And then in the Tuesday night class I played with, I really incorporated a whole lot. And they like it. It's helping them to be able to improve their advanced material. And this is the group that wants their own level 5 demo now. So, yeah, this is the group that's like, we want to go, go, go. But by, especially the whole lateral series, like that's their thing, and they even want a demo. Now fan kicks, we've attempted.
That's a tough one.
It all
That was a
starts
tough
with
one.
an attempt.
It does.
It was an attempt, and that's what I said. I didn't say modify. I'm like, that was a great attempt.
Yeah.
Play, but yeah, I think it just depends. Some people are into it, some people are not.
Yeah.
So I try not to kind of